If you've been recently impacted by a reduction or force, or potentially you're in a career that you're not sure what that next step is, or maybe you've been in an opportunity for the last 5 or 10 years and you're figuring out what's next, what's that next level for me in my career, I want to tell you more about what it is that I'm doing. I'm going to be hosting a virtual 3-day executive interview summit. My name is Brian Schultz. I'm the founder of the Interview Prep Company, and I invite you to join us November 4th, 5th, and 6th. We're going to have 12 world-class experts available to you. Some of the topics that they're going to be talking about are resume writing, LinkedIn profiling, corporate executive compensation, personal branding, the impact of AI in the workforce going forward, and many, many more topics. If any of these topics resonate with you, if there's anything that you need help with in your corporate journey, we welcome you to join us. It's a free event, November 4th through November 6th. executiveinterviewsummit.com, and we'd love to have you join us.
This is James Rousseau, aka Trig, and let me welcome you to the CoreLink Solutions Show. Family, welcome to another episode of the CoreLink Solution. You know, my goal to empower you to reach your potential through faith, arts, vocation, education. This episode is no different. I'm delighted to introduce you all to my new friend, Brian Schultz. Brian has a 20-year career in hospitality and HR, and has also launched 2 meaningful ventures we're going to talk about: the Interview Prep Company, the Freshwater Pearl Company. He's also done something very special to honor one of his dear loved ones. We're going to talk about that as well. Brian, welcome to the CoreLink Solution and Holy Coach Radio.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
It's good to have you here, man. So I start every show with the same question.
Okay.
What's one thing you can share that those closest to you would not know? Do you have siblings?
I have 2 sisters. I have an older sister and a younger sister.
That they would be surprised to hear. Particularly your older sisters can be very domineering sometimes. Like, what was she, if she heard it next time she saw you, give you that punch on the shoulder? Man, I didn't know that, little bro.
Oh, gosh. We're a pretty open family, so we share a lot with each other.
Sure.
But I think the fact that I'm here doing a podcast, that I have a studio in my home, in my garage.
You have a studio in your home.
So nothing like this, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a 6K camera, I have lights, and as I'm building this new content business,
Yes.
I just realized the power of the presentation.
And she does not know that.
And I told her about it, and I showed her a picture, and I showed her some video that I did in the studio, and she was just like, "You were the kid that went to kindergarten hanging on to mommy's leg, and I got held back because I just wasn't ready. And now you're on stage in front of a camera and speaking to an audience. Like,
look at you
how did this happen?" And so I think it's a great lesson in life that we nothing's permanent. And so even if I was more introverted as a kid, there's now a time in life where you get your message and get out. And here I am in front of a camera. I'm here with you. And I think it was a pretty big surprise to her that
that's awesome.
That this is now what I'm transitioning to do as my next step.
Good lesson to all of us as parents, grandparents, etc., that we should not pigeonhole people, particularly kids, by what we see early on. It's a great example.
It's a great point. I think having 2 kids, my son is 10 and my daughter's 12. I think there are some dispositions that you can see in their personality, of course.
Sure.
But everyone can grow. Everyone can learn. And it doesn't mean just because they're one way today is the way that they're going to be in the future. And I think I'm a perfect example, as are many of my clients that I work with each and every day. Where you start and where you end, there's a huge transformation.
That's so good.
And I think there's such potential in all of us that's what we have to live towards.
Yeah, that's good.
And being a parent helps us to do that. We just literally want to raise good, kind human beings in the world.
Right.
And we give them that path and that journey. A little coaching. There's some bumper rails that we help, but at the end of the day, we want them to learn.
Absolutely.
And we learn more by making mistakes than we do from our successes. So
and it's so funny because I think commercials that make us laugh are also usually some of the most factual commercials, right? And one commercial I always remember is they show like caption on the screen, first baby, and the father and mother doting over it. They're changing a diaper, this, that, and that. They're worried about everything. Second baby, father just has the baby on the shoulder in the shower, right? Like, this is good enough. It works. We don't have to be that careful. Like, the baby won't fall apart. We'll be okay. And I think that's what happens sometimes too. Our ignorance, right? Yet, intention to get it right shows up and can sometimes direct things in the wrong way. So
we have the best intentions.
Best intentions.
Yeah, my older sister will always say she had the toughest upbringing because she had to be home early, she had to be in bed early, she had the strictest schedule. Yeah. And then by the time I came, it was like, well, he's a boy, he's different. Like he gets to have all this freedom. And then by the time my younger sister came, was a totally
A
different
totally
story.
different thing.
But that's part of the experience. That's part of the
Absolutely.
journey. You learn, and they have the best of intent to protect and guide and do all the
Absolutely.
things that they think are best for us. But yeah, as we learn and grow, it happens to all of us.
It happens to all of us.
Yeah.
So it's funny when I was looking at your career background, like memories came to mind. You know, when you're late teens, cash is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like we say cash is king. When you're late teens, it's not just king, it is everything. You're trying to get your hands on some cash. And I'll never forget, the best job I got at that time was 11 to 7 overnight shift valet at the Four Seasons in Philly. Man, when you were valet, you would get there like 10:30 or so, and the doormen would start to pack up for the night.
Mm-hmm.
And so you became valet and door person.
At both.
And let me tell you, when clients would come in, hey, park my car, do this. Oh, I can't do that. The tips were unbelievable. Like, and when they shot Rocky 5, they came there. I got to meet Prince that way. Rolling Stones. I mean, who was it? Not Keith Richards, the drummer from Rolling Stones. I forget what band it was. Said, they're flying my car into the Philadelphia airport. Can you go get it? And I was like, yo, I can't leave my stand. He's like, so you can't figure out a way to have somebody cover for you and go get my car? And I think he gives me like $200. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Get in the car.
I can absolutely find
We're
a
at
way.
the Philadelphia airport. I will find it and bring it back. And so that vision comes to mind. And then being a leadership geek that I was in my 20s, I think I read every leadership book known to man, from 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I'm in HR. I'm reading Covey. I'm reading Lincoln on Leadership. And I remember reading about Disney's approach to management by walking around.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big deal, and how we wanted to institute more of that. So you've been at 2 iconic companies. Tell me what you took away from that kind of that 20 years between those 2 companies.
Yeah, so I think if we look at the Disney one, the management by walking around, I heard that from a mentor of mine when I finished my corporate career.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think about it, is when I worked at Disney and I went into the corporate office, I didn't work in the theme parks.
Mm-hmm.
You have the passion, you have the connection to the happiest place on earth. It's hard to brand yourself as the happiest place on earth unless you really create an amazing experience that people come back to over and over and over again, and pay some of the premium prices that they get on top of it.
Yeah.
And what was impactful to me was to get out to the park. And when you really want to connect, not just the job, but with something that's inside of you, I would just go, and I would go with some of our graduate students when we were on our summer intern, and we'd go after work, and you see the families.
Yeah.
You see the kids up on, the parents' shoulders. You see the smiles when they watch the shows.
Yeah.
You just see the enthusiasm and the excitement and the family moments that are brought together. And I know I know we'll get to it probably, but when my mom passed, the thing that we did before she passed was we went on a family cruise for the end of year holiday. And that was a lifelong dream of hers. And so she passed when she was 73. So 72 years old, she's doing a lifelong dream to go on a Disney cruise with her family for an end of year holiday.
That's awesome.
And so whether it's someone who's 2 or 3 years old or 72 years old, the experience is what matters.
Yeah.
But really the core of it is the family. It's the unit. It's the people that you're with and creating those memories.
Yeah.
And that's the most impactful thing for me when I take away from the Disney experience. And
was that mandated, that kind of management will walk around?
I don't know.
Or encouraged, strongly encouraged?
I think there's a passion or a connection to the company and to the culture.
Okay.
So everyone that's there is meant to, like, when you go through the gates, you're on stage. Cast member. Yeah. And so when you go through those gates, you're on stage, you're there to serve, you create this experience.
Right.
So I think it's inherent in you. And I think that's who they hire and who they bring as a part of their company and their culture. And if you don't have that, I don't think you work for the company.
That's good.
Because you wouldn't create that experience and create that memory for what they want the customer to feel and experience each and every day when they walk around the park.
Good.
Yeah. So Disney was a blessing in so many ways, because that was the foundation of my corporate career.
Yeah.
And then Four Seasons was my job right after graduate school. And what I learned there is you do everything you can to make the customer happy.
Right.
You do everything you can to solve a problem. You do everything you can to show empathy, to listen. And someone that trained us in one of our orientation meetings says we have a really high rate. And that high rate is on us as employees to protect the margin. And the margin would be whatever the cost is to deliver the experience versus what we charge. That's the margin.
Sure.
And anytime something goes wrong, we're going to make it right. And we eat into that margin. And so the better we are at delivering amazing service,
The first time.
the better we are at making sure that there aren't mistakes, even though we all know it's going to happen. The better we protect that margin as a company and profit. And when we look at those types of things from a P&L, profit and loss perspective, but it was always about the customer. And it's not saying that the customer is always right, but you want the customer to be heard, because when you're dealing with the top 2 or 3% of the world, there's only so many people that fit in that demographic. And repeat customers is everything to the Four Seasons business model. And so something that I've taken away from that is, how do you personalize the experience? How do you make it memorable every time somebody comes in? What is it that you can do to create a custom experience to get them to come back over and over and over again, and then to refer, because your best customers are always the referrals. Right? Those are the people that are like-minded, synergistic, think, behave, act like you. And thus that saves that margin, because it's easier to retain a customer and get free word of mouth marketing than it is to go and acquire a customer. And so when I just look at those two business models from those two entities, Four Seasons is now private and owned by Bill Gates and the Prince of Saudi Arabia. Like, those are two pretty amazing people to take.
I did not know that.
So it was a family held business for 50 years. His door sharp, and then he sold the business. It was taken private.
Got it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How difficult was the transition from Disney to Four Seasons? I mean, you went from a big general market brand to, just like you said, an affluent market brand.
I wouldn't say it was difficult at all, because the cultures were so similar, because it was all about the customer. It was all about the experience. And it was bringing yourself as a part of that mission and purpose to create that culture each and every day for the customer. To me, it was a pretty seamless experience. Now, a little bit different where the demographic for the Four Seasons is the top 2 or 3% of the population. Disney, maybe a little bit more broader of an audience. But at the end of the day, it was all about the experience. It was all about the customer and making sure that 5-star, 5-diamond service happened at every interaction throughout every touch point within the organization.
Yeah, that's good. You've dealt with many life transitions, which we're going to take our time and walk through. I would love to start with what inspired you to create the interview prep company.
So for me, when I, if I can I just take maybe a little journey back?
Sure.
So Disney, Four Seasons, and then I had worked with a software company in and around the hospitality industry, and then had a 10-year corporate career and a staffing company. And can I ask what made you leave Four Seasons to do the software? Yeah, so the corporate office that I was in, so born and raised here in Connecticut on the East Coast, went to school in upstate New York. After 6 years, a little gray and rainy, and I said, I want to go to the sunshine. Gotcha. And so I moved all the way from Connecticut to San Diego, from coast to coast. And it was for the Four Seasons opportunity. For the Four Seasons job. Yeah. Okay. And so their corporate office was in Carlsbad, California. You can't beat San Diego, though. I mean, I love San Diego. Yeah, it was the best. And I'm so glad I did it. Yeah. Still there, 25 years here on the East Coast, 25 years there now in San Diego. But their office was being consolidated to their corporate office in Toronto, Canada. Gotcha. And so, and we'll talk about this a little bit more too, but it was the power of the relationships and the network within your career and how opportunities come to you. Right. And so I had met a gentleman who I'm still in close proximity to, and we'll tie that thread here in a little bit. But he asked me to, he wasn't going to relocate to Canada, so he took an opportunity with MGM and to open the world's largest condo hotel, the Signature at MGM Grand. And so I was employee number 3 of that new opportunity. Gotcha. And it was only the fact that there was a consolidation, and given this was my first opportunity out of graduate school, I just thought, wow, Vegas, like, is there anything bigger if you're going to do something in the hospitality arena than going to Vegas and then to open the world's largest condo hotel? It just seemed like an opportunity I couldn't pass up, right? And I thought, for sure, I'd be a lifer at Four Seasons, but I wanted to stay on the West Coast. Got it. Right. And going to Toronto would be kind of the East Coast, a little bit more of that true Four Seasons weather, a little bit colder, but I just loved the weather and the culture of the West Coast. And so Vegas was just the right move. And so, so when I think about kind of how did I get to where I am today, it was the mentor of mine that had talked about the impact that we can have as managers and leaders on people. And when he had passed of ALS, I had stayed with the company for about 3 or 4 more years but I always had it on my heart that I wanted to make an impact through me, something
Yes.
that I could do. Because when you work in a corporation, you have an impact, but you have an impact on a team and a company and a culture.
Right.
I wanted to go out and potentially create something for me.
Gotcha.
And so the purpose for me going to create the interview prep company was to take my journey and my story, the things that I'm evidently proud and humble and grateful for with these eminent brands and hospitality and the industries that I've been a part of, to take this journey and this story to help others do the same things that I was able to do.
Got it.
And that mentorship and guidance and support is to get people to show up as their true authentic selves, but to create something that's a little bit bigger than you. Just like Disney, it started with this character of a mouse and there's costumes, but yet people of all ages continue to go back over and over and over again to continue to celebrate their special occasions with the organization. And so my notion is how can I go out and provide a service to people? And how can I give the gift of what I've been given in the companies and the organizations and the service and the experience and the personalization that I brought to the customer experience? How can I bring that to a one-to-one service and then offer a service that allows candidates to be the most differentiated person in their interview, that gets them to their opportunity, their career, their dream job, their next step, whatever the transition might be in their life.
Right.
This was the gift that I wanted to give back to others.
Why was that so important? Because you know why what made me ask that is because, by the way, we have another overlap, MGM. I did a lot of work with them when I was at Chase. They were a partner client with the MGM credit card, and I ran that program with on their side.
Great organization.
Kathy C. I can't think of her last name, but a lot of people who've had your experience, that experience is so desirable with rewards, companies, and products, so on and so forth. Like, you could have said differently, you could have been in a huge lucrative market. You've decided to do something closer to your heart. I want to know, like, where's that burden coming from? What created that burden for you?
So I think it stems back to my mom, to be honest with you. And early on, for whatever reason, you kind of have that mother-son and father-daughter connection. I had a really close connection with my mother. She always saw something in me was to get out and speak, to tell your message. And the power of words, the power of language, the power of communication is so important. And I never really, given I was an introvert, I never really thought much of it at the time. And as I've gone through my career, more and more what I've learned is the power of words, the power of communication, and how you can build a personal brand. And so thank you. It's a very kind compliment and other opportunities that I could see myself doing. But what I wanted to do was to take my experience and then customize it and personalize it to one-to-one interactions with individuals who might be struggling with a career transition, who might be struggling with a layoff, who might be struggling with, I've been in this company for 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 years. I haven't interviewed or updated my resume in a really long time, and I need someone to help guide and mentor and coach me. And those are the things that are most passionate to me because I have found, and I've hired coaches to help me do various things like copywriting because it's hard to write about yourself. And sometimes it's hard to speak about yourself. But at the end of the day, that's the gift that we're given, is if you're a great listener and you know how to create great experiences like I was able to garner through Four Seasons and Disney and MGM and all these other wonderful companies that I've worked for, I can now take that and hear somebody's story, hear their experiences, and build up their brand to the point that now we can create a narrative for them to use when they get into the interview. Because the interview is your opportunity to shine. Like, where else in the world? You've worked so hard on your resume. You've worked so hard on all the applications. You've worked so hard in getting to this point. And everyone, I'm not going to say everyone, but most people prepare the beginning stages. But when you get to the interview, like, this is the most important point in the process. There's nothing more important than this. Like, this is your voice. This is your brand. What's important to you? Just like you're asking me very thoughtful, meaningful questions. This is what the interviewer is doing. And they're going to read and they're going to understand and they're going to listen and they're going to dig deeper and deeper and deeper to try to find who you really are. Do you fit this Four Seasons culture? Do you fit this Disney experience? Do you fit this potential leadership position? Like, what are the things that makes you so unique and valuable? And if I have a particular problem, how do I potentially see you as the solution? And because I've had so many great mentors in my career, this is my gift that I want to give back.
That's good.
As I see the younger generation starting to maybe not have the same opportunities that I did when I started my career, these types of services that the interview prep company can offer, I could be that mentor. I could be that coach to someone who doesn't have that.
Where does your role start and end with people who
so
come
typically
to you?
I've learned over my tenure, I don't want to be all things to all people.
Yes.
So I want to be very specific and very targeted in who I am and what I do. I help prep candidates to be the most differentiated person in the job interview process.
Got it. Okay.
Will I review a resume? Sure. Do I want to write your resume? That is not my area of expertise. Do I want to write your LinkedIn profile? Probably not. Do I want to negotiate your executive compensation package? Can I help you? I certainly can, but there's experts out there that focus in each one of these arenas. Mine is right here.
To be the most differentiated,
candidate in the interview process.
That's
and
good.
how do we do it? It's just like this. You get to know me. I ask questions. I want to understand your background. You know, there's this concept that somebody says you're on fire. You're on fire right now. You're on fire right now. What does that mean?
Yeah.
It means you're in alignment. It means there's a synchronicity, there's a frequency, there's a vibration. So everything that's important to you, there's a spark, there's a light in you. When you can dig deep and start asking people questions about what makes you personally, professionally, and you start to dig that and you can build a narrative, and that narrative builds through what's your biggest accomplishments. How have you learned? Where's the failure? Like, what's important to you? What does the next 3 to 5 years look like? And you start to build that narrative with someone.
Yeah.
It's really compelling and it's really impactful, but it starts at that core foundation of the individual.
Who are you?
Who are you? What lights your fire?
Yeah.
And how do you continue to bring that to the world each and every day?
Yeah.
And most people don't start there, right? They think about the logical, linear things of what did you do? What did you save? How did you achieve? How's this? And don't get me wrong, I'll get into those too.
Absolutely.
But I really want to focus on you. I want to get to know you and understand you at the deepest possible level.
Yep.
Because when I know that, then we can tie all the other things in.
Yeah.
And when we do that, we create not just an emotional connection, we create a logical connection.
Right.
And then the person on the other end of the interview says, not only do I see this person as a part of our company, as a part of our culture, I see them as the solution to the problem that we need to solve.
So, one, thank you, because you're highly passionate about what you do, and I love that. Two, thank you because, you know, my premise of our company is empowering people to reach their potential, right? And I always start with the premise of we have to help people mine, understand, resurface their core, right? Gifts, talents. What does that mean? How does that ladder up to your passion, purpose? Like, and then out of that, all things can come, right? We can't jump to, well, I want this job. It's like, all right, let me step back. Why? Like, what's the, you know? And so, thank you for doing that work.
Can I share a story real quick?
Please.
So when you talk about it, I think stories are powerful, and so when you look at a Disney, a Four Seasons, or MGM, or how I work with my customers. I was I was a nutrition major undergrad. And so I thought I was going to be on the pre-med path. So I did a dietetic internship at Yale in my backyard in New Haven, Connecticut. And I never forget, you know, I would walk around and I would talk to people and just try to understand what they were going through, whatever type of disability or disease that they might have had, why they were in the hospital, what outcome happened. And I remember there was a woman in there, and she didn't look ill or sick in any particular way. And so I just said, if you don't mind me asking, you know, why are you here? And she says, well, I have epilepsy. And I said, oh, okay. And so why would you be hospitalized? And she says, well, I want to have a family. And unfortunately, when I have my episodes, it could be so impactful to the point where it would prevent me from potentially delivering a baby.
Wow.
And doing all the things that my body would need to do to survive a pregnancy.
Wow.
And so they were doing research and thinking of ways that they could potentially insert something into the brain that could potentially help her to eliminate her epilepsy episodes just so she can have a baby. And I started thinking like, wow, when you sit down and you think, you never know what somebody's story is. You never know what somebody's journey is. You never know what they're going through. But the thing that I'll talk to next that was so meaningful, impactful to creating a relationship with this person was, I said, I notice you're not eating. And she goes, well, I don't like the food. And I said, well, what kind of food do you like? I like Italian food. And I said, oh, well, my family's Italian. We make homemade Italian food like almost every night. Could I bring you some food so you can eat? And she was like, oh my God, would you do that? And I brought food. And then one day I came back and she was moved and I never saw her again. But it's those kinds of experiences that Disney or Four Seasons would see in me, that it's like you go that one step beyond to really help someone. You go one step beyond to create a different experience. And when somebody's sitting in a hospital room all by themselves, thinking that, wow, someday I'm going to have to potentially figure out a way to solve my epileptic episodes just so I can have a baby. But I can bring food and comfort and security and create a relationship with somebody
that's good.
I would never have done. Like, those are the types of things I think that when life is bigger than all of us. And when you can just give the gift and make someone's day just a little more special, and you can continue that thread throughout, that's what's meaningful. That's what's important. Those are the types of things that I think when people interview you for, they want to see what makes you different, what makes you unique, and what do you bring to the table that would bring value to my team and my organization.
Absolutely. 200%. And, you know, I've hired a lot of people in my career, right? And I've been on the other side of the table a lot of times too. And I think you could dimension it any way you want: soft skills versus hard skills, transitional skills versus, let's call them static skills, technical versus leadership. And at the end of the day, I think one of the things that when you're the hiring manager that you're looking for is someone you think you can grow to know, like, and trust, right? And become almost fungible in so many different ways. Like, I feel like I know this person, I like this person, I trust this person. I'll use my EOS terminology, DWC, get it, want it, can do it. You're looking for those things, and my God, if they can come through a referral, that's like, thank you so much.
That's the perfect package.
Right?
The perfect package.
Again, the work you're doing is incredible. 2, quick side note. Love what you said about your family and Italian food. Disappointed you didn't bring any.
I'm sorry.
I mentioned this to all of you again. If you're coming here and you're a foodie, we are expecting something. Myself, Max, the team is here. Bring something with. Okay. All right. So
I will bring something with next time. I promise.
I'm just playing. But kidding aside, let me ask you this. What are some of the biggest misconceptions people come to you with in terms of how they think they need to either shape their personal brand or enter the job market? What are some of the things you find yourself having to sort of correct again and again?
I think the first thing that I focus on is just a human connection. That at the end of the day, we're two people. We have this opportunity to get to know one another at a deeper level.
Right.
That's the same thing that the interview should be. It should be a human connection. That's the first thing that you want to try to do in any interview, is create a human connection with somebody. If it's and you've been a part of hiring around the globe. If it's the shotgun interview, answer, we typically know that's not a great interview. Right? It's a very practical, very formal type of session. The second thing that I would say is engagement. So what I like to do is I like to prepare my clients for questions. And questions aren't just at the end of like, what's the culture? The question is really about, if you're the manager, if you're the expert, what's the problem that you're trying to solve? What keeps you up at night?
Absolutely.
And then you just let them talk and really what it is. Or I have this job description and I have my resume and I've tried to understand what the top 3 things that you're looking for are. So I've highlighted them. So in yellow, here's number 1, here's number 2, here's number 3. But since you're the expert, could you confirm, like, what are you really looking for? And what does the ideal candidate look like? Because at the end of the day, I can only make an assumption. And so if I make the wrong assumption and I start going down this path when they're really looking for this path, we're going in two totally different tangents.
That's good.
And so what I like to try to find is that alignment. So the first thing, human connection. Second is the alignment. And the third is a level of accountability. So what would success look like in the first month, 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months in this particular role? And how would I know if I'm succeeding, or where would be the areas of improvement? So do we have, weekly one-to-ones? Do we have bi-weekly one-to-ones? Do we have monthly scorecard meetings, quarterly scorecard? Like, what is it that we do to make sure that I know where I stand in the level of performance and the expectations for what it is that you're looking to achieve by bringing me into a company and organization?
That's good.
So it's a different pattern that maybe some people think through because they always go in with, this is who I am, this is why I think you should hire me. And so it's a little bit more about me, where I like to flip the script. It's important. You need to get the answers to all the questions to make you feel comfortable. If it's the right opportunity, the right company, the right culture, I get that. By asking the questions and making it a two-way conversation, you're going to get your questions answered and so much more.
Absolutely.
And that to me is where it becomes really, really powerful.
It's almost like you're almost like saying to the manager, I want you as a client.
That's right.
So I need to understand your problems.
I need to understand. And it's as much as they want you, you want them. It's
Absolutely.
a two-way street. But the more that you ask questions, you're interviewing them equally as much as they're interviewing you. No doubt about it. But how many candidates actually walk in over the years that you've interviewed? How many would take this approach with you?
Not enough.
Not enough.
There are three things I would tell you that concern me sometimes with candidates. One, not asking the questions. I'm asking all the questions. Two, they're pre-scripted. It's so pre-scripted that I can feel it. And it's like, well, I actually want to get to know you and what's inside of you. So how do I get past the pre-scripting? The third one is they don't know who I am and my company is. They haven't taken the initiative to know anything about us, our brand, what we do, our culture, like even just a normal website visit of 5 minutes would have given you that. Those are the three things. And so it's so funny too. I've developed questions to break through the scripts. Like my usually last question is, and I will tell them how I'm feeling. I think we should go to the next step, or I'm not sure. But let me ask you this. This will help me. You get donated to you untold riches. It's an embarrassment. You take all the trips you want to take. You buy your parents everything you want to buy. Your siblings, you give them money. Even cousins you don't like, and you are still left with money to, like, you could buy islands if you want.
What do you do with the leftovers?
What do you do with your time?
Oh, the time.
What are you doing? And everyone, usually they go, and then they do this smile. You know what? I would. Da-da-da-da-da-da. And I let them talk. Talk that. Okay, great. That's awesome. Help me understand how connected that is to the job you want to do with me. I just want to help me see, because what I see lighting up in you, that level of happiness, that level of joy, I want that here.
Yeah.
I don't want to be, you have to escape here to get back to that.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
And how people use their time and or their resources.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we assess and evaluate each and every day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But the more that I think you create that connection and relationship, the easier it is to answer that question.
Absolutely.
Because it's genuine. It's authentic. Genuine. There's no script as to what is the right thing to say or not. And there is no right thing to say. I think there's a way to say things, and you can command authority and leadership and presence. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you have to be authentic and true to you.
I think in one interview, I actually said to the person, stop that. They said, what? I said, using your script. I said, stop with the pre-scripted answers, okay? Just talk with me.
Yeah.
But
preparation helps.
It helps. I just think it's having a packaged answer too.
Yes.
As opposed to really hearing what I'm asking you. Because what's happening is you're almost like you have this grid of 8 answers. And when I ask you a question, you're trying to figure out which one to use, and you're not really listening to my question.
Sure.
So I've had some cases where they were in person. I would make the person walk around the building with me just to get them to loosen up, right? And just find ways to I just want to get to know you. I really want to get to know who you are.
Some of the best one-to-ones I've had were taking walks around the campus. You just get outside, you're in nature, it's a relaxed environment. You're not in the office where people sometimes feel a little bit more confined.
Those are the best meetings to me. My team at the Delaware campus, I worked at JP Morgan Chase, they would call it the grapefruit juice walk, because I would walk down to the calf twice a day to get some grapefruit juice. And I would usually grab somebody, and they're like, oh, he's coming. You're going to take grapefruit juice walk. It was like, hey, just walk and talk.
It's great to change the environment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sometimes we just go to lunch out. It's sometimes the best things to do is just mix up the environment.
So with people like this who are coming to you, they're coming to you at all different moments in their lives. This could be a transitional moment. This could be a rebound moment, right? I lost my job, unfortunately. I got to go to the market. Sure. This could be, I think I'm ready for the next big challenge moment. I want to put my super person cape on. There's so many different things that happen. What have you seen relative to what men may struggle with in terms of how they show up in a professional arena?
I think I would say there's a couple things.
And I'm sorry, I want to add one thing to that. How they show up and how they manage their identity.
So there's a lot of discussion around what's happening and around the world of the job market today. So we have AI, and what does AI look like? And so I think and are we talking more executive level, mid-level managers?
I think more mid-level, more general level. Yeah. Mid-level. Yeah.
So I think, to me, it's the mentorship.
Mm,
You know, when I had mentioned this before, I had so many great mentors that helped guide me and coach me throughout my entire career.
mm-hmm.
And I've heard, I can't say that I've experienced it per se, that I've been out of corporate America for 4.5 years, that the mentorship, right? So there's, you know, the things that are being shared in the marketplace is AI is automating a lot of the types of entry level jobs with the analyst and the data and the metrics and putting together presentations, and then potentially also middle America. So mid-level management, those are the types of things that are going away. But when you lose those layers, now you have kind of that entry-level, mid-level, going all the way to the senior executive level. And if you've never been coached or mentored, or you're still growing in your career, there's a gap into how does that mentorship happen in the marketplace today.
Gotcha.
And so I think that's something that when you say for men, how like where is the leadership and the mentorship or a coach that helps me define my leadership style?
That's good.
If I have a challenge, and I've heard this multiple times, I just go to ChatGPT or an AI prompt and say, I have a meeting with my boss. I have this particular problem. How would you do it? And I think it's great to collaborate and get as many ideas as you can. But we're missing the human connection, right? So yes, no matter how much you can prompt or the GPT knows you, there's still something, the power of a human connection.
I had not thought of that.
And I just think that, so when we think about, you know, the next thing I would say tied to that is the vulnerability. Right. And what do we bring to the marketplace? I have huge emotion with who I am. And it's always, you have to have the executive presence, and you have to be the leader, and there's no weakness. And but yet we're in a world where some companies are virtual, some are all in person. Like we all have some type of experiences that we bring into the, you know, that's what they used to always tell us at Four Seasons is when you walk through that door, you have to leave your personal life behind, because we are literally Disney too on stage for our customer at that particular moment. And if anything distracts it, then we distract from the experience of whatever it would be. And I think finding ways to create those connections and building that trust, likable, credible environment for companies, for organizations, for all levels within an organization, that's something that I find is hugely, hugely valuable, but not always, let's just say, trained or welcomed in corporations.
You know, wow, there's so much in what you just said, because, for example, you're right. We can go to ChatGPT quickly, and it's cool, but there's no soul to the answer. It can store everything we've told it today, but there's no soul. Two, it can't proactively help us. So I'll give you made me think about 3 mentors that I just want to give a salute to real quick. Don Bailey, Ed McGann, Matt Winter. I'll do a quick 30 seconds on each one of them. So 2005, Ed McGann was a key mentor for me at JP Morgan Chase, and he was the head of comp and ben for the company, which at the time was a $2 trillion company. And Ed was mentoring me on a lot of different things, and my biggest blind spots were kind of proactive managing of relationships at the executive level. I was managing service delivery for all North America, 7 lines of businesses, all the HR people, executives for the businesses I should be out about doing stuff with, right? And I was, I had a team of 400 folks and running my team. And something happened one day, and Ed called me and said, Rousseau, your antennas are not up. I'll talk to you soon. Hung up. Okay. And I looked at something I did within the last 24 hours. I said, oh, God. I remember that 20 years later. He was able to say things to me because of the relationship we had established, right, that would rock me. The next one was Matt Winter at Allstate. Matt was president of Auto and Home. And Matt, I asked him to come to my offsite and talk to us about some stuff we were doing. And he simply turned to me and my team and said, he had been mentoring me for a while, you can't save your way into growth. You guys committed to grow $1 billion business in 5 years. No one cares if you save money along the way if you don't grow the $1 billion business. Don Bailey, who hired me at Allstate, one day came to one of my meetings and said, you guys are doing awesome. He said, but let me contextualize your awesome. He said, when I was learning how to ski, I made it all the way down the mountain several times without falling. And my ski instructor finally looked at me and said, yeah, because you're going at like 0 pace. Pick up the pace, make some falls, become a better skier.
That's right.
And And that was it. And he rolled out. Basically, the message was, you guys, you got to pick up the pace. You got to do some stuff. You're going to break some stuff. And so, to your point, in many cases, either I asked them to come or I didn't. They knew me. They could address me in the moment proactively, right? And really in context.
But it's the power of that relationship.
Yeah, power of relationship.
And that's the thing. Yeah. And so, to answer your question more specifically, because I answered it a little bit generically, I think the work starts with you. And so,
is that hard for men to get started with that work?
I don't know if I would say it's hard for men per se. I think for me, because I had such a close connection to my mom and she brought the emotion into her world, I have that as well. And so if you don't have that, then maybe it could be challenging. I don't want to say one way or another. What I would say is when you look internal and you work on you, whatever it is, spiritually, financially, educationally, emotionally, psychologically, and you come as a well-rounded individual, that's the best leader in the world. And I know when you got your antennas weren't up and I got my antennas weren't up, then I had to go back and I had to look internally and say, okay, how did I not show up? Or what did I potentially do? Or what did I not hear? What did I not see? And we get so caught up in the day-to-day. Oh, I'm a tactical, functional producer. I'm the leader. Oh, I have the budget. Oh, I have to travel and see all the clients. And you get caught up into your world. As soon as you lose the perspective of it's just me, that's when I think those things start to come and creep into our world as leaders or as men in these corporate roles, that it's not just looking at it from a perspective of this is my role, this is who I am, this is whatever, that we bring empathy to the workplace, not just for ourselves, but for everyone. And I think that's hugely critically important. And I'm not going to say that it's missing or whatever. I'm just going to say that to me is what I think is important. Right.
And that's, thank you for sharing that because you helped me kind of reshape my question. The question I was really trying to ask that I need to say differently is, when people come to you, I assume in many cases they're like, hey, Brian, help me get to this next thing. Help me move from this industry to that industry. Help me move from this mid-level to here. And in some cases, you have to say back to them, it's not about your resume. It's not just about your personal brand. You've got some inner work you have to do first. Is that shocking to many people, or how do they take that?
So I think it's like a half and half.
Okay.
So if people are, I think when we interview, one of the things, I'd ask you your perspective and input, but I know this is something that when I prep people and talk through this process, I look for humility. I look for awareness, right? So someone potentially aware that there's an area of growth. Are they aware of a particular area of a strength? And is that strength over dominating other areas of potential growth areas?
Absolutely.
So do they have the awareness? And then do they have the humility to say, yes, I understand it, not just mentally, but emotionally? And then what am I willing to do with it? So when you ask the question, you have the money, what do you do with your time?
Gotcha.
So now I want to know, so what are you doing with your time if you're unemployed or if you're looking for a new job or the last 5 or 10 years to grow in any particular area of your world?
Gotcha.
And to me, that's what I want to see. I want to see the awareness and I want to see the humility. And so when you ask the question, what is it that you need to do? Some people are open to it, but sometimes people just aren't aware of it. And so that's the power of the coaching relationship is that I can dig, I can ask questions and I can say, okay, great. Maybe you were let go from a job. You still have some anger and frustration. Everything about life is how you show up. What you do in one thing is how you do all things.
Absolutely.
So if you're presenting to me as angry and frustrated because you got let go in your previous job, I guarantee someone's going to pick up on that in an interview. So we're going to spend some time.
That's really good.
We're going to resolve this in whatever this is.
That's really good.
But part of the process is we have to get to some level of counting. There's always 3 sides to every story, right? This side, and something somewhere in the middle.
That's really good.
And my notion is I want to find the middle. Because if you're 100% right or they're 100% right, then we don't create alignment. And ultimately, that's what I shared before is we have to be in alignment in order for you to be the most differentiated candidate. And so that's what I work with my clients on is how do we gain that alignment? And that alignment starts with us first, because you got to role play and practice with me, get all that stuff out, and we're going to show up as the best version of yourself. And I know it's hard, and I'm not here to diminish the unemployment numbers, how hard it is to find a job,
Yeah.
the silence that goes in when you apply to 1,000 applications, when you don't hear back after an interview. Like, I'm not diminishing any of those challenges. Those are all real.
Right.
But at the end of the day, how do you show up? And if you haven't gotten an offer after 5 or 10 interviews, can we diagnose and can we go back and can we talk about the interviews? And do you have any potential ideas, suggestions, opportunities of maybe where there was a miss,
Right.
why it was a miss, and how could we course correct the next time?
Yeah.
Because likely there's patterns, and those patterns show up, and great interviews pick up on those patterns.
What, if you notice, what percentage of interviews are done virtually today versus physical?
There's a high percentage.
Yeah.
There's
Over
a high
50%,
percent.
you think?
I would say it's over 50%
Versus pre-pandemic.
versus pre-pandemic. But as you get to more of the senior director level and above and executive, you might start a screen virtually.
Okay.
But the final stages of the interview will turn into an in-person.
Gotcha.
Yep.
And if you had to segment your client base, what do the segments look like?
So most of the people I work with, senior level professionals to corporate executives to C-suite. That's predominantly. But just in the last 2 weeks, I was coaching a recent college graduate.
Got it.
So
so you're open.
I'm open. Yeah. I mean, again, I don't want to be all things to all people, but I think my process and methodology works for entry level right out of college all the way to a C-suite.
Gotcha.
And you can focus and tailor. Yes. Do I have methodology? Sure. Do I have an approach?
Yeah.
Sure. But it's one-to-one.
Yeah.
It's personal. I have to know your story and get to know you, what that light, what that spark, what that passion is.
Absolutely.
And then we build the narrative around you.
That's good.
Your experience, personally, professionally. And, it's sometimes, I wouldn't say easier, but there's less foundation when you're starting your career versus someone who's been in the industry for 20, 30, or 40 years, right? Now we have to create a really coherent and really concise and compelling story around, okay, this is the opportunity, this is the company, this is the role. Okay, how do we create that story to make you the most differentiated candidate in the process?
That's good. When you made the leap to entrepreneurship, I think any of us that have done it have one set of expectations, and then you look back and think, okay, well, here's the reality. For you, what was some of the most both some of the most gratifying things, but also some of the most surprising things?
Sure. You have a plan, I think, at the end of the day.
Right.
And, we plan, God laughs, right? I
Exactly.
think is a common theme. And I won't say nothing goes to plan,
Right.
but you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And,
Right.
Entrepreneurship was new to me. It was a new journey. And so, what's SEO? What does that look like? And again, it all goes back to the power of language and the words you use and how important it is. And can someone land on your page within 3 to 5 seconds and understand who you are, what you do, and the value you provide? Because that's what it takes to be successful in today's marketing economy. Super, super quick, right? Short form content, powerful words that jump off a page that resonate with someone that says, I want to take the next step with you.
Right.
How do you do that?
Right.
And that's not easy. Just like when you get to an interview, you don't have a ton of time to articulate who you are and what makes you the most differentiated candidate. How do you do it? That's a challenging situation too. And so for me, I'm almost using my own message and methodology to build my business. To how do I create a clear and concise and compelling message to my customer who understands and knows what it is that I do and why I do it.
Yeah.
And that's been definitely a huge learning for me. Social media content, right? Being on camera, being here and doing this is a learning curve for me.
Right.
Saying the things that resonate with everyone, being authentic.
Yeah.
It's the world of tell people what you think they want to hear versus, no, this is really who I am.
Right.
And I think we're moving now more into a world of people want to see the true self. They want to understand the struggle and the challenge and what it's like to go there, just like in an interview.
Yeah.
We don't want to fake it, right? It has to be authentic. It has to be real. Tell your real story. And that's something that I think that I'm learning more and more, that people want to know the struggles.
Absolutely.
That there are not successes every which way.
Absolutely.
Sometimes
not all highlight reels.
It's not. Like if you try 20 things, I'm lucky if 1 or 2 of them potentially work. So
Absolutely.
Then you get into the resilience and the mindset and thinking, okay, is this going to work? And then you start to question and doubt.
Right.
And it's like, why did I do this? And then you have to go back internal and always have that purpose of like, wait, I had a bigger vision.
Right.
And this vision is that I have this story, this message that I want to bring to the world. I have a methodology that I know that can make you the most differentiated candidate. When you remove yourself from that, just like when I used to walk into the parks and watch all the families having fun, that brings you back into it.
Yes.
And I don't know if you feel this as well or not as a part of a nonprofit, but you got to see where the money impacts. You got to see where it
Absolutely.
goes. You know what you do,
Right.
but when you get to see it day in and day out,
Absolutely.
and that's why I understand the struggle with people who are, applying to 1,000 jobs,
Right.
not getting responses. Like, it's hard because you don't see progress. We as humans love to see progress.
Absolutely.
And when you stack progress, that's the momentum that eventually gets to it. But
Absolutely.
in the world of entrepreneurship, we were talking at dinner last night,
Yeah.
right? You started this in 2018, you said?
Full time. Yeah.
Full time, right?
2018,
So
yeah.
you're 7 years in.
Yeah.
Did you think where you'd be today?
No.
No. But did it start in year one
Right.
that you are where you are today?
Exactly.
No, you stack, and it's not like it's rungs on a ladder. You can just go from here to here to here to here. It's like,
Right.
yeah. And then the next rungs are empty, and you're like, wait, how do I get to 4 feet up when there's nothing in
Right.
between it?
It is not sequential.
It's
people.
not sequential, and you have to stack it, but you got to
Absolutely.
just keep going and making that progress
Absolutely.
and coming up with creative ideas and solutions, but always being true and authentic.
Would you do
to
anything
you.
different?
Would I do anything different? So the interesting thing is the interview prep company started a little bit later than the Freshwater Pearl Company. And so if I were to talk about things done differently, I wouldn't have believed so holistically that a story and a message would build a business.
Okay.
So there has to be something more than that.
Okay.
And I think this goes to when you interview too. There's a value proposition that someone has to understand, whether it's an interviewer, whether it's a customer looking
Absolutely.
at your product or your service.
Absolutely.
If the value is not clear, there's no transaction.
200%.
There's no trust. There's no credibility. There's no likability.
Right.
So I thought like, telling my story about my mom and building this business around this charitable it's a wonderful story.
It's heartwarming.
It's heart-centered.
Oh my gosh.
It
Yeah.
makes me do what I want to do.
Right.
But what's the relation
Does it
to the
convert?
customer? Does it convert? And so I think I was a little, let's just say, positively optimistic and thought that things would catch bigger, broader,
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah.
And you don't realize the level of consistency. And I like discipline, but I don't like discipline because it can be positive and negative. But I just think consistency are the things you talked about habits earlier.
Right.
And habit stacking and how you break patterns and how you get into the things that you do each and every day that lead to
Right.
the success. You can post on social media and then you do it for a week and you're like, wow, this is hard.
Right.
Content creation's hard.
Right.
I don't see the engagement. I don't see the
Right.
likes. Well, if you're doing it for the engagements and like, you're doing it for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And you got to stay consistent with it over and over and over again. But if you don't know your story, if you don't know your value proposition, but you got to put in the reps.
Right. You got to put in the reps.
You got to put in the
You gotta
reps
put in the
because
reps.
you only learn through the reps.
You got to put in the reps.
And that's what I tell people who are interviewing. It's okay if you didn't get the first job or the second job.
Yeah.
You got the reps. What we learned from it. So now when we go into the third interview, what are we
Yeah.
going to potentially do slightly different that's going to
Absolutely.
change the outcome?
Got to put in the reps.
Those are all the things that I've learned that I would have never have known
Yeah.
unless you just get started.
And I used to have a mentor who used to say, you can't romanticize about the business and the work required. It can't just be because it feels good and like it's work. You have to do it consistently.
It is work,
Yeah.
but when you can connect your passion,
That's different than romanticizing.
that's right.
Right? Because if you connect your passion to purpose, it's like I'm willing to be on this plow
That's right.
because I know the ultimate thing I'm trying to achieve.
That's
But
right.
if you're looking for every moment to be happy, romanticizing with the, you got this music playing in the background, you're gonna be disappointed.
I think there's something else that's really important. We talked about this a little bit at dinner last night, is being present where you are at any given moment, right? This was something that I shared with you.
Yes.
And regardless of an entrepreneur or anyone, I think this is really, really important. And I speak as a husband, I speak as a father, I speak as an entrepreneur, I speak as a son, I speak as a brother. When you're present in the moment, like if you're in an interview, be present in the moment,
Yeah,
right? Because
good.
the person who's interviewing, they got 8,000 things on their mind. There's a next meeting, there's another
Absolutely.
interview, there's whatever that's going on. How do you draw that person to create this one-to-one connection so you're both present in the moment? When we're present, that's when true engagement and authenticity and
Absolutely.
connection happens, right? And when you go through it, and you probably can remember back in the days when you were starting, sometimes you lose the connection
Yeah.
to that mission, to that purpose, to that passion, to that whatever. you're not present in the moment. And the gratitude that comes from what it is that you're doing. Like, I get this opportunity to create these businesses. I'm fortunate to be in the position that I am, investing in my businesses, growing in my businesses, whatever. But when I think, well, I did this ad and it didn't convert, I'm spending all this money on this agency, and the agent, okay, that's great.
Right.
And you can look at it that way, or you can say, well, what a blessing that I have a resource that's helping me. And maybe it's going to take 10 tries before ad works, right?
That's good.
Maybe it's going to take 10 agencies before it finally works. Or maybe I need to one that needs to do the work and the messaging and the copy and the creative before an agency can come in and really start to grow and scale the business. Right. And so when I look back, I'm grateful for the people who've helped me with my business.
That's right.
But I have to look internally and say, what could I have done differently? What could I have brought to the table with the value proposition, with the communication, with the language, with how I showed up? Was I grateful? Or is I living in scarcity? Am I abundant in the world that I think like every opportunity is available to me? Or did I go into it saying, I don't know if this ad's going to work because the last ad didn't work? That mindset can become contagious.
That's good.
And when you are an entrepreneur or a solopreneur like I am, and I'm now fortunate enough to grow a team, that team helps me each and every day because I know that I'm responsible and accountable for the growth of the business, but also for their lives and their livelihood. And that gives me that extra passion and motivation to keep going. Yeah. But sometimes leaders, we eat last. Yeah. Right. And that methodology and not being like, oh, it didn't work. Oh, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This isn't what's going to happen. No. Let's focus on the things that are happening.
That's good.
Let's focus on the things that we can control.
Yeah.
And from there, let's be grateful because we're not given more in life until we're grateful for all the things that we have.
That is so good.
And for me, that's a big message that I like to share with people before they go into an interview. So you walk in with peace. Yeah. You walk in with that serenity that says, wow, I'm just grateful to have this opportunity to be in a room for this company. And you show that level of awareness and humility. People pick up on that. And that's what I want to bring to the table each and every day. Now, it's a challenge. Not every day is the best day. We all know there's ups and downs in the world of entrepreneurship and in corporate jobs.
Of course.
But the faster you can work through those things and get to the solution versus focusing on the problem and why it happened, spend 90% of your time in the solution, not on the problem.
I love that. I mean, all those points. Yes. And entrepreneurs, that's not to say, because I feel it too, when you're in a corporate environment, you always feel like there's a trampoline under you. When it's all your own chips on the table, it feels that much more stressful. Know that we know that, and we're still saying you still got to remain focused.
That's right.
And be grateful.
That's right.
One of the things that I just want to go super tactical for one moment, because you mentioned something that triggered a question, which was, I think we've all faced that, whether it's interview or not, when you've got somebody on the other line on the Zoom or something, and you could totally tell they're not engaged, right? What's a tip you might offer that interviewee can use to get that interviewer pulled in to that conversation?
I think it's the power of the question. And so I would always say, if that happens, how do you turn it back to the other person? Because if somebody's not engaged, then that means there's a disconnect for some reason. Their focus, their attention could be on something else, whatever it is. We never know what it is. But if you just pause and ask a really thoughtful question, not about me, but about the other person, about the company, whatever it is that can get them to immediately engage, that changes the entire situation.
That's good.
It's like with kids, you have patterns. If the kid's in a tantrum and we could just step into another room, kneel down, let's look eye level and say, I understand you're frustrated. Tell me what's happening right now. And all of a sudden, what happens? Child seen, heard, feels important. The whole thing gets diffused. And I think that's one of the things that I think the power of a question and trying to bring that person back into the moment. If they've disconnected and they disengage, there's a reason. I don't know what it is, but the way to bring them back is try to put it back on the other person.
Sometimes it could be beyond you.
It could be beyond you. Don't take it personally.
Yes, beyond you.
We get texts, WhatsApps, voicemails, phone call. I mean, there's so many ways to communicate these days.
I need you now.
That's right. Something popped up on the screen that you didn't see, and they got disconnected, they got disengaged, and you want to bring them back into it.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
So now, one of your biggest goals was to donate $100,000 to charity in honor of your mom's 19 journey with breast cancer. And I think, tell me if I'm wrong or not, but Freshwater Pearl Company's creation was somewhat connected to this?
Yeah. So when I decided so my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2001, 15 years in remission, came back, and the second breast in 2016, and then spread to her lymph nodes, spread to her femur, and then eventually spread to her brain.
Very sorry. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so in 2019, that's when it had spread to her brain. And that was when I also decided, okay, I think there's something else for me.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have that critical, pivotal moment in your life where things change. And so losing my mom was she was the matriarch of the family. That was a big change for me. Like, wow, okay, what does this mean? And so, growing a 9-figure business globally and getting a seat at the table and having all the things that I had, I was like, this is me. But my identity was tied in my job.
Gotcha.
And so my relationship with my wife wasn't awesome. My relationship with my kids were awesome. I didn't focus on me. And then it was like, bam, here's my mom's brain cancer diagnosis. You only have so much time left. What's going to happen? That was my impetus to say something had to change.
Yeah.
And so I had let the company know that I was going to, be making a transition. It was like an 18-month transition, given that a senior level position within the organization, and started thinking about what was next. But I didn't know what was next. I just knew.
Gotcha.
My mom then, from November of the brain cancer diagnosis, passed in February of 2020. So it was just a mere 2.5 months afterwards.
Gotcha.
I said, what could I do? And it was on my heart to watch my mom and her journey through cancer.
Yeah.
And it's not just the physical support of what my dad provided, but it's the mental and the emotional support. In the last 3.5 years, she got her cancer treatment at Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in Boston.
Gotcha.
We lived in Connecticut. Monday off for 3.5 years. My dad would drive my mom to get her treatment for a 3.5-year lease on life. That's a huge commitment. Now, we'll do anything for our loved ones and our family, but that's support.
Absolutely.
There'd be times I talk to my mom and my wife would say, who are you talking to? It's been an hour. You haven't said anything. Because I'm just listening, right?
Yeah.
Just listening.
Yeah.
Because it might be a day where she's like, I'm not going to see my grandson's high school graduation. I won't see my grandson's, wedding or whatever it might be. And that's the loss component versus let's talk about the things that we have to live for today. Let's talk about the things that we can do, whatever it is, like the Disney cruise that we were going to get on. She didn't want to get on it. Why not? Well, what if something happens? It's a helicopter ride. We'll take care of it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So when I thought about all these things and this journey that I went through with my mom, I was like, people with cancer need help. And I wanted to do something that could give back in many different ways.
Yeah.
And so when I started thinking about what is it that I can do, I go back to something that I said before. The person that took me to MGM, his wife, I've known them for 25 years. She's now the designer of my jewelry. So when we talk about relationships and the power of a network and everything that I've done and the jobs that I've gotten are all through referrals, I stayed in touch with her and she said, why don't you go build a website? And I'm like, I don't know anything about websites.
Right.
I don't know anything about Shopify. I don't know anything about e-commerce. I don't know anything about jewelry and pearls. But I just said, let's tie the mission and purpose around to my mom.
Yeah.
And let's donate 2% of sales back, gross sales, back to organizations that help men and families experiencing cancer. And it will become a company built on heart and purpose, giftable moments. I gift this jewelry to you in honor of someone like my mom who went through this journey, or other women going through cancer that wear it, strength, courage, resilience. That was kind of what I was thinking for. Some of the things that I thought this message would pick up so quickly and boom, it would grow. It didn't. But yet, I'd have to be a $5 million company in 5 years, from 0 to 5, at a 2% donation to hit $100,000. Well, I'm 4.5 years in. May next year is my 5-year anniversary. I'm proud to say that I've now broke over 66,000. Thank you.
We need the air horns.
Thank you. But I also at some point said I'm not going to get there by 2%. So I said I'll donate 4% of gross sales.
Gotcha.
Right? Because the impact and the purpose is so meaningful to me.
Yes.
And I just continue to do more and more each and every day to give back, to create that company, to create that purpose. But the jewelry was really the conduit to building a business around something that would resonate with my audience, that would support me in my mission and purpose, but also provided value in the way that jewelry not just accentuates any outfit or style, but it's more more deep and more meaningful in so many ways. And I think I've taken a sophisticated product like pearls where people think, oh, it's an heirloom, it's passed down, it's my grandmother's, I wear it to a formal. No. Our pearls are modern, they're versatile, they're stylish, they're meant to be worn every day with any outfit, with any style. And that's the value proposition that I've just come to realize in the last like 6 months. Is I kept thinking like, what makes me different? That's what different. That's I took huge. A sophisticated product and made it every day. And pearls are for everyone, and they can be worn for everything. And my daughter wears pearl stud earrings, and my wife wears pearls all day. And it's just one of those things that now, as I create that message, and then I continue to give back and find the opportunities where I can, just like I was just up in Massachusetts with a women's empowerment boutique. I've donated over $20,000 to their organization.
That's awesome.
I've donated over 1,000 pieces to their organization to women in need, women getting back into the workforce.
Awesome.
I was there because it's meaningful, it's important to me, it's impactful, and I get to see the impact that it makes each and every day. I stay connected with my customer. That's why I did this.
Yeah. So I know you know this already, but I just want to affirm, man, what a great job turning grief into purpose.
Thank you.
I don't know if that's the right words, but that feels right now. But just want to affirm that, man. I hope you feel celebratory in different ways, right? To not only turn grief into purpose, but also build a business model around it, right? I mean, that's huge. I mean, it rolls off your tongue, very eloquently, but I mean, I really just want to pause on that for a second, because I think there's so much to learn from that. Because sometimes we can settle into grief and let it become an Achilles heel of sorts. It's almost like you can see like this weight ball behind you, right? Walking with the grief, as opposed to saying, no, I'm going to turn this into my magnum opus of sorts, right? And so, congrats, man.
Thank you.
Would you tell others, right? What have you learned during that process that you believe others can pick up as a repeatable practice?
I love what you said. I had a third business in mind. It was called Tribute and Tradition. And my tagline was Your Life, Your Legacy. And it was to help terminally ill individuals and their family members plan for end of life. And the way that I look at it, so I was an EMT, I was pre-med, that we know there's a birth and there's a passing. And we know that in life. And sometimes the younger we are, we never look to that point. And as we continue to age, we think more and more about mortality.
Yeah.
I don't look at someone's passing as this somber moment. I look at it now that many people use this language of it's a celebration of life. It's one's achievements, it's one's accomplishments, it's the impact that they made. We can talk about my mom as the matriarch and getting together for all the things that we did, the Disney cruise. That's the power of the story of the celebration of life. And so it was sad. Yes, there is grief that happens about it. Yes, I quickly turn that grief into something impactful and meaningful for me and others in the world. But I think it's how you frame it, because the words that we say really impact, right? I'm a golfer, and they say the golfer's biggest weakness is the inches between our two ears, right? Our brain and what we think. And if I get up there and I say, wow, there's water, or there's a big bunker, or there's trees, the last thing you want to do is a negative thought before you walk into a golf swing.
Absolutely.
Right? That's the last thing you want to do. So how do you walk into life with that daily positivity that says, my mom was a beacon of light, a force that when she walked into a room, she lit up a room. And so when I walk into a room, when I meet a client on Zoom, when I have a one-to-one with an employee, when I sit down to dinner with my family, what is it that I can bring out of that moment to make that moment special? When someone arrives at Four Seasons, when someone goes to Disney, right? These are the things that make us special, that make moments special. That's the way that I think in the world.
That's good.
I'm going to be honest. It sounds Pollyanna, and this is the way I live each and every day, and you probably know it as well. It's not easy every day. And I don't come with this same presence and bravado every day, but it is a mantra that I try to live by. But yes, there are things that we should do. We have to focus on ourselves. We have to focus on faith and spirituality and gratitude and journaling and do all the work, right? Because things happen each and every day that could take us off course.
That's right.
But how do we get back into that presence each and every day?
That's right.
To keep that meaningful purpose alive. And to me, it's that celebration. I celebrate and honor my mom and her legacy every day. And for everyone that's still here,
mm.
I just want to make their experience
Just a
and
little better.
celebrate their life each and every day that much more meaningful and impactful.
That's so good, man. I applaud the work. And
Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's so good. You know, one of the things I was thinking about too is it's not lost on me that you're running two distinct businesses. Like, it's not like those two vertically integrate or anything. So what's that like?
So 4.5 years ago was the birth of the Freshwater Pearl Company.
Yeah.
And I thought I would run two businesses, maybe even three, right?
Yeah.
The Tribute and Tradition.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't quite ready for that emotionally. So that went on the back burner someday, maybe. But I had to focus on one.
Yeah.
And I think it's a powerful lesson. Focus is really important. So I just talked about language.
Yes.
And so focus, when you can laser in onto what it is that you're doing,
Right.
that's the most important thing to
Yeah.
me in the world.
Yeah.
And whether you're at dinner with your spouse or partner, focused on that moment, be present where you are, where your
Right.
feet are at the moment.
Right.
So the most important thing to me was the Freshwater Pearl Company. And I started online and I learned and video and photography and all the things. And then I had an opportunity to open a store in Cabo.
Right.
And so now all of a sudden I have a store in Cabo. And then
Nice.
I get an opportunity to sell in the Waldorf Astoria and
Nice.
the luxury collection by Marriott, and the business starts to grow. And all of a sudden I had two goals. Can I become a 7-figure entrepreneur in 3 years? And can I donate 100,000 to charity in the first 5 years?
Gotcha.
So I achieved the first goal in 3 years. We'll see. I'm on a mission and a purpose to get to
good.
5 years
That's good.
for 100,000 to donate to charity. But it's taken 4.5 years
Yeah.
for me to really start to build the brand of the Interview Prep
Gotcha.
Company. So I've been doing it for about 2 years, one-to-one, partnering with staffing partners and colleagues in the industry.
Right.
You have a position, you have a candidate, they need a prep, I do it. That doesn't scale. That's a very one-to-one
Right.
model. And now how do I take it to the industry? And so now that I have a team and I have people that are carrying the Freshwater Pearl Company forward for me, I can now transition and put my focus and attention to building the Interview Prep Company.
That's good.
And so it's really just a matter of, could I have done them at the same time? I probably could have, but neither company would have been what they are today
Yep.
because my focus would have been diluted because I didn't give it the energy and the system and the infrastructure to get it to where it needed to be to scale before I switched to something else.
Got it.
Now I'm ready. I built that
ready.
infrastructure. I built that system. I built that scale now. And now I can transition and focus on the Interview Prep Company because I have to be present.
Yeah.
And if I'm not present for my clients each and every day and I'm thinking about something else or whatever else is happening in the business, that's not fair to
So
my
you're
client.
singularly focused on the Interview Prep Company now.
Singularly focused on getting the brand to the marketplace.
Got it.
Yes.
Got it.
So launching it per se.
Yeah.
So that is the focus of kind of through the end of the year.
Yeah.
And once I get that up and running, and I would say 80% of my time goes to the Interview Prep Company, and 20% of my time right now is going to the Freshwater Pearl Company.
What do you hope to be in 2-3 years? What do you hope to be? What do you hope to be able to say?
So really, and part of the reason that I started to transition to the Interview Prep Company was I knew I had this 35,000 plus deficit to charity. And I said, how am I going to make up? Right? Don't live in the world of problems. I could sit there and look at the deficit, or I could say, I have an abundance mindset. How am I going to make up this $35,000? And I said, well, if I launch the Interview Prep Company, it's a little bit more of a higher ticket offering. And if I have a higher ticket offering and I have more sales, I can make bigger donations.
Right.
And so part of my process in doing this is, yes, my give back to my clients,
Right.
but it's equally as much as is the give back for that $100,000 to charity. Because for me, I wanted to be that beacon of light for myself, for my wife, for my children. And to hit that milestone of donating $100,000 to charity in the first 5 years of being an entrepreneur, that's something meaningful to me.
Absolutely.
That's impact.
It
goes
that's
beyond money.
Yeah,
And
that's great.
Candidly, I will likely donate more money than I would have made in the first 5 years. So it's not about the money, because if you chase the money at the end of the day, you've known this probably
Absolutely.
going through your corporate career. Chasing the money leads to empty
Absolutely.
fulfillment at the end of the road.
Absolutely.
And it's not about the money, but when you can create that passion and and you build something that not just speaks to you, but has that value proposition to everyone else, and you solve a core problem and a need in the marketplace, that's when everything scales and starts to grow.
Yeah.
The impact that I want to have with the interview prep company is that I can impact as many people's lives through my story and my journey to get them into the career or the position or that next career growth that they want to achieve.
Yeah.
Without sacrificing all the things personally.
That's good.
Focusing on relationships, focusing on health and wellness.
Yeah.
Balance is hard to achieve, but the more that we put some thought around those types of structures,
Right.
the better we all become in as humans in the world.
That's good.
It's really, that's my mission, is to help people
That's
align with where they're going, not just professionally, but how they integrate personally into that as well.
Yeah.
I lost that a little bit at the last part of my career. And it felt like a huge void in my life, and that was the impetus to create the interview prep company.
Good. Man, you have such a warm and positive persona. There's another descriptor I need to put there, because that sounds Pollyannish. It's grounded in reality. And that's what I appreciated about it. It doesn't skip over what's happening. It's like, no, I'm totally cognizant of what's going on around me. I am just choosing to focus this way, to be optimistic, to focus forward. To, one guy I love who said this: there's a reason your rear view mirror is this size versus your front view mirror. That's on purpose, right?
That's on purpose.
And so I just appreciate that, Brian. Let's close with this. A lot of people watching this now, later, etc. A good portion of them are feel stuck. Whether that's true or not, it's their perception, and so they are stuck. What do you say to them? What do you say to get out of that stuck position? What's your advice?
So my process would be, first and foremost, is to acknowledge them. I want them to feel heard, and I want them to feel seen. So whatever their feeling of stuck is, it's real.
Right.
And when you can get someone to feel heard and seen, they feel more comfortable and confident to share more with you. If I can't open that level of connection with someone, I can never get to the next step of the process of getting them unstuck.
Yeah.
But it has to start from them. So to me, it's not so much as what I can say, like, here's the silver bullet that's going to go ahead and get you from stuck to unstuck to stuck. I don't know that I have that. What I have is, I have to understand why you feel that way and validate that those feelings can be real. But just like you said, the rearview mirror is only this big and the windshield's this big. We have to get to a point where we can acknowledge those feelings. We can process that feeling of stuck. We can acknowledge whatever it's a situation, a circumstance, a trauma, whatever it is, that we can process it. We can learn from it, and then we can view it as a gift.
Yes.
Because any challenge, any trauma, any struggle, any obstacle that we've ever had can become the gift.
Absolutely.
When we can flip the script and say, what's the blessing and the gift that we can garnish from this level of where we're stuck, and I can shift that paradigm, then they start thinking to a solution. They start thinking to what's next. They start opening up to the abundance versus the scarcity.
Absolutely.
Right? I'm stuck. It's this. I'm not. We go into a little bit more of a negative connotation, all the things that aren't going to happen versus the world of possibility and what can happen.
Yeah.
We can only make that transition when we process what's happened.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I worked with someone, it took 6 months to process that.
Yeah.
We just couldn't get past it.
That's good.
And we needed the time and the space in order to get there.
Yeah.
But once we got through it, it was like, boom.
Exactly.
Right? It's the J curve. It's like, boom. And you're off in a totally another direction.
Yeah.
But in order to get that, we have to work through it.
Yeah.
And that can be a challenge. And for some people, it's instant. For other people, it takes time.
Exactly.
But how we frame that and how we use it, and then we craft a compelling story, craft a compelling vision, just like you said. What do you see yourself 3 to 5 years? What does that look like? If I can get someone to start thinking like that, but I don't have to go 3 to 5 years. I could say, what does the next 3 hours look like?
Right.
Because sometimes those small steps, they're meaningful.
Absolutely.
But progress builds, momentum builds. And the more that you can just get past the little wins, acknowledge the wins, celebrate the wins. The whole concept of stuck when we got started, you never look back.
That's good. That's
you
so
never
good.
look back.
That's so good. Family, this has been a great conversation with Brian Schultz. Brian, if they want to reach out to you, what's the best way?
So the interviewprepcompany.com. And then if anyone is stuck, I'll just share, James, we're doing a 3-day virtual summit. So November 4th through November 6th, we have 12 expert speakers coming to talk about resume writing, LinkedIn profile, corporate executive compensation, and personal branding.
Right.
It's a free event.
That's awesome.
Executiveinterviewsummit.com. And feel free to come, learn from all the speakers. It's just an opportunity to really continue to invest in yourself, to invest in your career.
Yep.
If there's anything you need to learn, we'll have people be talking about the power of AI and its place in corporate America and the future of work.
Yep.
Anyone can come. It's a free event, and I
That's
welcome
awesome.
anyone to it's executiveinterview.com.
That's awesome. Family, this has been another episode. I think this is one of the most high IQ episodes we've had, learning from Brian Schultz. Be sure to tune in. Be sure to click save. Be sure to check out the conference. Till next time, be informed, be empowered, be accountable. Much love.